I will follow you. So I will follow you. I'll have you know my name, you know. NWAD, Deaconess Werth. Our topic today is yeah, DW. DW, yeah, that's fine, DW. My topic today really is about clergy killers. I'm going to call it clergy or pastor, stabber. No, I'm going to call pastor stabber, pastor killers. Okay. That time I was taking DIT. I was looking for it that I had to do, and had that topic on there. I was looking at different topics. Oh, I looked at one called clergy killers. And I picked that. I was reading through. Whoa, really, whoa, wake up my eyes. Wow. And so it was written by G. Lloyd Rediger. He's the author and stuff like that. And I understand. I had some of the same experience of different times in my life. So I wanted to share with you that. Okay, show the movie. All right. Okay.
So many ministers are being destroyed by evil and evil people in the life of the church. There's a sense of that being willing to just take the throat out of the pastor.
There are 1 or 2, sometimes 8 or 10 in a congregation who are willing to give themselves to evil purposes for their own narcissistic benefits.
People who act with that sort of vicious heart within those congregations often are called clergy killers.
I've seen a spirit of being driven in them.
The church is the one place where they feel that they can come and voice their opinions and do things that are disruptive.
It would probably be better if this were more widely understood.
Congregational life is nothing but politics.
Many of our bishops, I am saddened to say, have lost their faith.
Clergies are expendable, churches aren't.
You are free to come and go in the church. You are free to fight honestly together because there is spiritual warfare.
Combat has been fought at many different levels. I believe the same thing holds true in spiritual warfare. There are different levels and many different tactics for the evil one to accomplish his work.
I believe that there is no better place for evil to hang out than in the church.
In today's time, the enemies of the church are often within the walls of the church. The enemies of the church are those individuals who are operating outside of God's will in the life of the church.
Most people don't come to the church ready to do battle. They come to church ready to do prayer.
There's never a time when the devil is not manifesting a presence designed to reduce faithfulness to the highest principles of the human community.
We're watching a horrible dropout rate in the ministry today. Most people don't live a full career in the ministry.
Without a leader, the people perish.
Clergy killer does evil. Clergy killer role is evil.
I don't think most people have any clue that this goes on. I know these people.
That's why I wanted to bring up my workshop today. So clergy, what does that mean? Really also called pastor. But it doesn't only have to be affect the pastor, but it affects elders, deaconesses, deacons, church officers, and it can happen, deacons also and deaconesses. And And you know, we talk about what's a killer mean. You know, it talks about those are church members, you know, who stab the pastor, you know, but also can be it could be church officers, or it can be outsiders who come in too. You know, this clergy killers means people who on purpose attack the pastor or any church officers to hurt them, either emotionally, mentally, a breakdown, bullying, mocking them, you know, so they become frustrated, you know, or have revenge against them. You know, and we have ways to identify the clergy. There's 6 D's that we use. You know, destructive, meaning they want to get rid of their pastor. The other D is determined. You know, meaning they're just overly blunt with the pastor. You know, that they argue with the pastor, confront the pastor. Also, you know, people are deceitful. They're honest, you know, they lie, they butter up, and they don't tell the truth. But there are others who act in a demonic way. You know, they specifically act evil towards the pastor. It's like, you know, also there's who they act in denial. They have negative actions, negatively apply to the pastors. You know, there's nothing positive, just all negative, all the time. The last one also is discernment. Yeah, you know, this is they show, you know, they always, you know, I can do it. I can, you know, there's no backup for that. One of the verse I use for that is Titus chapter 3, 10, 11. It says, warn anyone who tries to get believers to separate from one another. Warn that person more than once. After that, you know, like, have nothing to do with them, and you only have to take 2 or 3 people to go and warn them. And so after that, have nothing to do with them. Well, you can be sure that people who act like that are twisted and sinful. Their own actions judge them. Now, why do we have you know, clergy killers? We'll just do CK. And, you know, the answer for that is because Satan's working. You know, he loves to pick on people. And so you have that verse from Matthew chapter 18. If your brother or sister sins against you, go to them. Tell them what they did wrong. Keep it between the two of them. If they listen to you, you have won them back. But if they won't listen to you, then take 1 or 2 others with you. Go together, the same as the Bible says. Every matter must be proved by the words of 2 or 3 witnesses. But if they also refuse to listen to the witnesses, then tell it to the church. And what if they refuse to listen even to the church? Then don't treat them as a brother or sister. Instead, as you would an ungodly person or a tax collector. You know, clergy killers, you know, they were there from the beginning. You know, in Bible times, you see that, you know, one example is talking about Joseph and his 11 brothers. You remember Joseph's 11 brothers mocked him and belittled him and sold him? Also, you have the story of Pontius Pilate with Jesus on the cross. You saw all these things happen. You know, where happened? Everywhere. It's not only here in church, deaf church, everywhere, all over. And why is, you know, abusing clergy worse? Why do their families suffer worse? For example, congregation accept pastors' wives to become involved in church life and help to serve? No. When the churches abuse their pastor and his family, they feel hurt. Who will support them? You know, his wife can talk and share with others? No, there's no one. You know, also for the pastor's children. You know, will their friends understand them? No. You know, they suffer in isolation. They often feel helpless, and they want to fight back. Now, often can happen they lose their faith and be disconnected from the church. Yes. For example, I'll share some of my stories. I look back at my old church now. You know, I knew why pastor left and so forth. You know, I remember the members really gave him a hard time, and he was stressed out. You know, they stressed out the pastor and he left. Also, I remember pastors do mission festivals, and the members complain. They don't like it. You know, they complain. You know, pastor's not God. You know, if they don't come to church for the pastor, they come to listen to God's word. You know, also remember we have deaf and hearing congregations. You know, I hear this sometimes where you have both, and sometimes the hearing will praise the pastor, but the deaf are silent. You know, and I wonder, you know, to give the pastor a positive word. Now, how do we prevent this from happening with clergy killers, to prevent the pastor from getting hurt? For one thing, remember, pastors' wives and children can also get hurt. You know, the family members of the church are not church workers. You know, so remember that. You know, remember that pastor's family also has limits. You know, the church can expect things, but they can never choose. Now what we also talking about this, have talked about the 4 ways to give. Remember, we had a workshop about deaf peacemakers. There are 4 ways to make peace with each other. First, I will not think or dwell on the sin. I'll throw it away. Second, I promise I will not bring up that sin or use it against you. I will not talk to others about this. And I will promise I will not let this hurt our relationship. You know, it talks about the statistic. There are 1,500 pastors leave the ministry every month. That's a lot. Wow. 61% of congregations have forced the pastor to leave. 83% of pastor spouses want their spouse to leave the ministry. 90% of clergy will not stay in the ministry long enough to reach the age of retirement. 50% of clergy would leave the ministry if they had another way of making a living. Wow. I really never knew about Clergy Killers before. You know, I read this book and I realized, wow, it really opened my eyes. It made me aware of it. You know, and so that's how I learned about it. You know, I also, you know, had the experience of a deaconess killer also. It happened, you know, there was a, you know, family member, wow, one of the children emailed me a really nasty, you know, letter. I replied back in a nice way back. Ooh, mean again. So I paid back in a nice way. Whoa, mean back again. And I sat down and asked for advice. And what do we do? You know, it was resolved okay, but whoa, but you know, he warned me before. You know, before I graduated from DIT, that this is going to happen. Like, wow, a few months later, wow. So I was glad to be prepared for that. You know, you guys have this experience also? My experience, you know, happened to one person, you know, a deaf guy. When we share and talk about God's word, somehow whoa, boom, he's like, wow, really hit me hard. It's like, wow, you're not Christian, you know, you're not. I'm like, whoa, what? You know, I not so bad, but it's like, wow, you really killed me. You know, that's all the clergy killer, yeah. You know, Becky, happen outside the church. People say things to me about pastor, about negative way and things like that, and show positive, give positive words. Yeah. It's really not easy. Wow. It really hurts my heart. Just like happened. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, lot. You're right. We should share lots of experience about what happened. We can go through that, but I don't want to share with you because I don't want you to have a bad but yeah, she's right though. We have a lot of experiences that way, and I agree. Just talking with pastors today. That number you put up there, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of pastors really, ready to give up because, there's no appreciation, there's no support, they feel they were for nothing. Yeah. And part of that reason is because if you're working on a project, for example, David's working on a project, or you're doing work on, like you suppose, you're building a table. You're doing that. You build the table, and you finish. You can see, you can proud of what happened with the table. You can see it's finished. But as a deaconess, as a pastor, is our work ever finished? Do you see? Oh, there! Wow. Often there's nothing because the work is ongoing. You really never see the work finished, and so you don't have that feeling of finished. I'm done. There's nothing. It just keeps on going, and so that's tough. Yeah, I'll go there and then my wife. Yeah. First and then second. I'm wondering. Yeah. Well, why let Satan involved? Fine. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes they're not aware of. Yeah. They not even think about it. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. And then they tell stories. Oh, boom, shoot. And it happened. Well, that's what. Wait. I want to answer that because you're right. Sometimes people don't know. But you have to realize your question about why did God allow that to happen. You have to realize right now, is Satan won or is Satan lost? Which one? He's already lost. And I think sometimes it's to get a good picture, you have to think of an animal. If an animal becomes hurt, what do? But if an animal becomes hurt and someone comes up to them, what do? Yeah, they become mean. And that's part of the thing, is Satan knows he has lost. He knows he's lost. And so what's he going to do? He's going to work harder to try and catch as many people as he can before the end happens. And you have to realize that I like the picture of Satan before was able to run over. But now, Satan is like a dog on a chain. And so he's chained up. He has limits. He can only go this far. He can't go farther. So what does he do? I actually know what he does is he sits back here and he makes it look beautiful and come on. And so people, they come across the line, and what happens? Wham! He's got him. And so you're right. Satan can't go past that bound, but he can tempt people to come over to his area, and then he's got him. And see, and that's choice. That's people's choice. God gives us free will. Well, Jesus has power. Right. But Jesus has the power for you and I as Christians. We have that power. But God's not going to force you. God's not going to force someone to do that. They're not. Yeah. Well, here, Becky, can I use you as an example right now? I think what you're struggling with right now is a perfect example for this. You want to share some of that? I mean, I think the people know, but is it all right to share some of that? You know, what Becky experienced this past week, I think is a perfect example, okay? Because she's been struggling, Elliot, her son, is struggling with his faith and things like that. And so Becky is saying, I want my son, I want to have a more strong foundation. I'm most familiar with high school, so I want him to go to the Lutheran high school so he has more time to study God's Word there. Right now in the public school, they don't study God's Word there. There's nothing. I want him to go to the Lutheran high school. I want him to go there. But Becky says, I want you to go so you study God's Word. But when Becky says that, I want my son to go there, you know how many people tell her, well, you can't force Elliot's faith. You can't force him. You have to let him decide. You can't. Well, you're just telling me that you want God to force them. But now Becky wants to force Elliot to go and study his faith, and people are telling her no. And so, we need to sometimes. Well, after 18, but is Elliot 18? No. And so, really, right now, she has to encourage that as much as she can. And some people, you can't force it. Well. People get upset about that, yeah. Well, what if you think if God forced everyone, you guys all right if God forces everyone? Well, but see, that's it. They don't like it when Becky, who has responsibility to teach, forces her son to go to school, to Lutheran high school, to learn about God. They don't like that. You can think what would happen if God forced people? But I agree with you. I wish he would. I wish God would. But he could. Yes, we need to do that. We need to pray. We pray. Yeah, my wife.
Well,
Can we say?
two things. First, if Satan can get the leader of a group, he has the whole group. That's why he attacks the pastors. And the pastor's family is the biggest weapon.
Is the biggest tool or weapon against the pastor. The number one place Satan loves to cause arguments is where? In the family. If Satan can get you and your family to fight, you're gonna feel boom. Where's your support? Your eagerness to work in the church goes down. If me and my wife are fighting and I come to church, how do I feel? Yeah, there's no support. They're boom. And so if Satan can work and get the pastor's family, boom, then boom, everything.
Well, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was a time when we had some of our biggest fights on Sunday morning as we were getting ready for church.
Oh, I remember those. I remember those things. Yeah. Right before church, right before a workshop, Satan loves to work hardest. Why? Because if you're fighting before you come to church, and you arrive at church, how do you feel? Yeah, you're already, me, I'm going home.
There was a time when him as the pastor was getting attacked all of the time at church. My boys could see what was happening. For me, it was important to protect their faith. So we went to another church for a while.
Who's tough? Be honest with me. Honest with you, pastor. But I sometimes ask people, any questions? And no one answered. I mean, my sermon is stank or no support for me. And leaders. Yeah. That leads me to read the Bible from now on. See, yeah, to be honest with you. See, and you're right, and that's what she's talking about. The word there is clergy, or really it includes deaconess, includes the officers, it includes the
And
leaders,
the pastor's
anyone
family.
who's involved with leadership in the church. So you are included in that, and you're right. That's a perfect example. If we don't support and encourage David, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, come on. You are just starting out. You want to go back and hear one of my first sermons, my first or second year? Like, oh, you talk about stink. Oh man, I wouldn't want to listen to one of my sermons now. I don't know how people accept it. It's like, wow, I remember Best Day. Oh yeah, my pastor said, wow. So I'm glad you shared that because you and I need to realize that and encourage each other. We need to encourage each other. We have to. We need your support. Good job. We need to hear from. If nothing, whoo. That is really true. They truly need your support to keep up, to build up the confidence. Yeah. Also pray for him. Yeah. Pray for him. Yeah. Always pray. Before the sermon starts. Oh, people praying for him. Yeah. People praying for him. Yes. Yeah. You're right. Yes. And nothing. Nothing. Yeah, right. Secondly, I'll two things I want to pray for. I want to know my experience with Clergy Killers. Want me to share one story of my experience. I'll be very brutally honest with you. Okay. One of my first churches, I was asked to resign. One of my first churches asked me to resign. And that's some people talk about that story still today. Do you know Pastor Rankin? And that happened because there were 4 people in the church that just they didn't want to go ahead. And I knew what was happening. The one day I knew I wouldn't be staying in that church. Why? Because we had remodeled the church. Okay. And one of the members was saying, Pastor, we can't have children here anymore because they will make the floor dirty. And so I knew when they said that our goals were boom. I knew it would happen. I tried to keep working, but it didn't work. And so that was one. Those people. That's what my wife was talking about. It was off, and one of the meetings, one of those leaders told my wife, okay, well, you remember, Mary had to watch when Jesus became crucified. You know what that means? So you need to watch while we crucify your husband. That was his word. That was his word to her. Like, wow, yeah, he told my wife. The same as Mary had to watch Jesus become crucified. Same. Wow! So it was tough. Explain more. Well, the same. When Jesus became crucified, right? Where was Mary? Mary was there watching while her son became crucified. Yeah, Mary was there. His mom was watching Jesus to become crucified. Oh, okay. Well, No. Mary's mom was watching. The same, one of those leaders told my wife, you need to come and watch while we crucify your husband. So I was like, wow, and that's one example. I can tell you, I was told by, or one leader, not this is death, okay? Other hearing, I was told straight to my face. I had a leader tell me, you are an idiot, you are not able, you don't have skills. Oh, that guy, he would have kicked me out at that moment. He told me to my face. And thank God, God's the one who supported me. We went through there, and at the end, he was like, okay, it looked like, never apologized. He just said, well, it looked like. Yeah, you ain't involved in that, you know? Whack. So I give you lots of stories. All right? You want to be blunt about that? What she's talking about, hey, I saw. Oh yeah. I learned the sign for that. It's not scarred. No, it's yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Wow.
Well, but I want to say something.
Oh, okay. My wife wants to put up. Well, you want to come up here? Or you want me to sign it? Oh, I can sign it. Okay. She wants me to sign it. Oh.
One of the things that though is being here has helped heal those scars. Well,
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
You know, these past few years have been tough for us. If it hadn't been for you people, we would have left. So you're the reason we're still here.
Right. She's right. Well, I agree.
But I want to also say this doesn't happen only in the deaf church. It happens a lot in hearing churches. There are a lot of pastors and pastors' families who are hurting.
Yeah, you probably you will never hear about it. You will never know what's happening. But right now, my wife is on Pastors' Wives communication board, and so she works with a lot of other pastors' wives that are hurting and going through things. And so you will never hear about that because she can't. She can't talk about anything that happens, but she works a lot with those pastors' wives, supporting them, finding ways to help them, what to do with them and their families, and
I've seen a lot of pastors' kids that have nothing to do with the church.
Because what
and
happens?
that was my goal, is that wasn't going to happen to my children.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, come on, this one. Yeah, that was kind of. Yeah, second. One more. Okay. Many of you know the Lutheran Church, hearing some deaf church, hearing Finnish church. They stay away from the people. They shake hands. They shake hands. People. Nah, CK. Yeah, they will avoid. Yeah, they will go around. Avoid. There's CK. Yeah. That would be called the CK, because what she talked about, the 4 things for forgiveness. Remember the 4 things for forgiveness? And that 4th one, I will not let what happened hurt our relationship. Well, if you walk up and say, you have a relationship. If you, what does that mean? No relationship. You are letting what happened hurt or damage your relationship. Yeah. You're not willing, yeah. You're not willing to let it work, yeah. Kevin first, and then, Becky? Well, Becky first, Becky, and then Kevin, and then David. Okay, you want to come up here? Okay. There are a few things. One, David, David's right. I'll respect you, we got your name, but yeah, I'm sorry, but, I always say thank you for all of your work here. I think, it's interesting, sometimes if the pastor, we need to know what their personality, their speaking personality. Sometimes, the pastors want to people, they just want to give out to the people. That's it. Sometimes they like interaction, things like that, where we have to have interaction. I think that's wonderful. You share your preaching personal. So now they know. We appreciate that. We know what you like and question stuff like that. That's your way to get feedback. And so, that, helps them to we need to ask questions more also. If everybody that asks questions makes you feel better, makes me feel better also. Sometimes, the people, not sure ask questions or not, or you have more information to share, or what time, or what, so you can't predict. So it's okay. Thanks for telling us. I love when people ask questions. Like after the sermon and stuff like that. So you know what I mean. So yeah. So thanks for sharing. So we know what makes you inspired. But also a second thing I want to talk about, Lorena, is interesting. It's not that person that you're not a Christian. I was sorry for you. One of my pastors growing up, he's a pastor. What did he do before he became a pastor? What his job was? His job before he became a pastor was. He's a what? Father. Wow, unwed father. He's like 17 years old, and his wife wed father. He wasn't yet married. He was 17 years old. His wife was about 16, and you want to know what happened? They got a baby. Okay, and so young. Now, what did we do? We worked gas station for a long time. One day, wow, changed. Went to college, go faster. And so, whoa, many people could pick on him, that pastor. You're not Christian, you're awful, you're back, and you're story. Well, wife pregnant, you get your girlfriend pregnant, you're awful. They really could. About that's part, happens in the Bible too. How many prostitutes, how many women were there that Jesus, in his family history, how many women in the past got messed up, and the men in the history got messed up. Shows how much your faith, can change and grow. And so you are the perfect person. When a person says that to you, wow, that's good, wow. Opportunity to say, he has the power to change you. He has the power to change you also. So never feel bad about your past and the sins that you did in the past. It's a good thing because you already know the sin and you let it go. Yeah. Awesome. Kevin, okay. I'm just wondering, about ranking. Never give up. Pastors resign. I know I'm talking about pastors resign again. There are people against the pastors. Should never give up. Well, yeah. I think it's just stress, mental. Yeah. Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes, hopefully, sometimes what happens is the pastors can take a break, and then they become healthy. They can come back. Hopefully you can. But sometimes you need to have that break. You need to, because if you don't, it becomes worse. And that's why often pastors have to do that because some of it's protect their family. They have to protect their wives, they have to protect their children, and so they have to back out. And sometimes you have to do that, you know. Well, Jesus happy with that? Well, you know, yeah. Sometimes when, you know, Jesus talked with his disciples, and Jesus said, if you go into a town and they accept my word, fine, stay with them, fellowship with them. If you go into a town and they refuse to listen to my word, what do? It says, the dust from your shoes, shake off against them. You know, shake off. So I don't even want the dirt from your town. Po! I'm leaving it. And so, you know, Jesus also says sometimes if people don't want to listen, you have to leave them. You have to leave them. Because you gave them his word, and if they don't want to listen, then the judgment's on them. The judgment's on them. So sometimes you have to.
Well, and
yeah, that's why you signed that. Yeah, sometimes you, yeah.
And to be honest, it's not in there, but a lot of pastors kill themselves or their health. Well, a lot of pastors have, because it gets the burden's too much.
And so, yeah, do they have faith? Do they have faith? Then they go to heaven. Then they go to heaven. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know in the past some people thought that, but no. Because murder is murder. Whether I would kill Dawn or I'd kill myself, which one? She believes in Jesus, I believe in Jesus, we both go to heaven. The damage is when someone kills themselves, messes up their family, messes up the people around them. It really does. It's probably one of the worst things that can happen to a family. Yeah. Okay?
Well, and honestly, if it's a choice between him and his health and the church, we're out.
You know, pastor has to think about his health and Yeah.
And that includes mental health too. That includes mental health also.
All right, David. Thank you, my dear. Oh yeah. So you're right. I agree with you. Yeah. So that's how I like doing it that way also. I agree with you. Yeah. So Dawn, you're gonna have to think up more questions. So when David is preaching, you have to buy a D for him. Oh. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you. Okay. Now we want to keep our church happy and healthy. We want, and so we really need to learn how to protect ourselves. You know, how to stand strong and connect with other people and help them heal and grow also. But also to improve the congregational health. We need to. Yeah. For example, from 1 Timothy chapter 5, 19 through 21, says, don't believe a charge against an elder unless 2 or 3 witnesses bring it. But those elders, you know, if they're sinning, they should be corrected in front of everyone. This will be a warning to others. For I command you to follow these instructions. I command you in the sight of God and Jesus Christ and his angels, treat everyone the same. Do not show favor to one person over another. So what are some of the solutions? What we're doing? Well, one thing, they actually have, there's a group called doxology. And this is, encourage pastors to go. That group support for pastors, elders, deaconess, and stuff like that to go. And there, you know, 207 it was set up, and so I think it's called the Lutheran Center for Spiritual Care and Counseling.
Do you remember one of the speakers from ILDA? Dr.
Yeah, the lady who was at ILDA. Yeah, right, right. She's one of the leaders for that group. Yeah.
You want to hear it?
They have every year they have different workshops. It's all over the U.S. They set up. Yeah, I know there's one they set up in Illinois. They set up, they hold every year. They've invited us to go. I know Pastor Palmer's already gone, but I haven't yet gone. It'd be nice if we could get an interpreter to go together sometime. It would be nice. Yeah, but it's also expensive. It's like almost $1,000 for the workshop. Yeah. Well, it's three sections. So it's the first and second and third, and so it's not just one. So that's one of the reasons. That's the problem is the cost. Right. Yeah. We already have. You'll have to go. Be back easy. All them. Yeah, there they have professional. Yeah. People have different opinions instead of one. The one. Yeah, neutral person. There. One thing they have a neutral person. Also, sometimes. We do very good at sharing here. I think we are very open and sharing here. There are a lot of places where the pastor can't be open and sharing. Yeah, there's a lot of pastors who feel they can't share openly with the people because if the people hear that, like me sharing with you what happened before at the church, that's a risk. If the pastor shares his feelings, very easy for people to take advantage of that. And so they don't feel comfortable sharing with people. Yeah. That also. Yeah. And so that makes it tough. Yeah. Kevin? No. It just says about $1,000. Yeah. I understand that. Which is more important, God or the money? Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they really support and encourage the churches to pay for their pastors to go. That's why they encourage the churches to support their pastor to go for that, for the workshop and the support. Yeah, and that's part of their struggle. That's part of the struggle. So. I have an idea why not, like, our state have the Lutheran churches all over. Pick another state. You have the Lutheran church. Pick one representative, become the neutral person, counselor, and switch. It's cheaper to come. Sleep here, provide 3-day, different sectionals or workshops, finish, one person fly home, then, we can send 5 people to go pay for that money to go, one person from there to come over, have full. See, that's, to set up our own one, yeah. Yeah, that's our challenge. I would agree with you. I think if it would have been 20 years ago, we could. Now, we don't have enough skilled people to do that. How many of our deaf churches have any experience? We are the only deaf church with workers and deaconesses who do this kind of thing. None of the other churches have any experience of this. Like, now that's 20 years ago, I would agree. I think we should have done that. I think it's one of the things it didn't happen. But you're right. I think that's part of the reason. Yeah. Pat was first. Pat was first. You get your hand up? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Need $1,000 for the church money, or take over broadband, $1,000, pay for that instead of other things. Help with me, or work like that. You know, we can talk about ideas that we can. That's one of the reasons we haven't yet to set it up to go. But you know, maybe we need to talk about that. But we can also. Kevin's right. I'm not worried about the money. God wants us to go. You know, and maybe it'd be good to invite them to come into worship. I don't know. Really, the point why? Grace. The point is grace. Yeah. I would agree. I would agree with you. Yeah, that would be the point. Would be grace. Yes. Wow. If we right now we don't have qualified, knowledgeable, skilled people, counselors, why not just go ahead and we set up and send one person who's willing to go to learn, go to the workshop to learn, plus with the leader training me a little bit more, why then hearing, then deaf, so why to grab some of their knowledge and then come here and start to set up our own. Yeah, we could, yes. Well, why not today? Yeah, one day. Well, we already have someone who went to the first one. Pastor Palmer went to the first one. Yeah, thank God to these two, but he went to the first one. Yeah, and I don't know which workshop, but he shared with us some of his experience. Last fall, I think it was last fall at the workshop, he shared some of his from that workshop he went to. So he did share with us some of his material. He went to the first one, but he hadn't done the second or third. So we could talk with him and say, please, would you go? Maybe have to go again to that one and that one, and go. No, it's all together. And when Palmer went, they wanted us to go, so they helped with some of the cost. Well, it wasn't the full 1,000. So maybe we're talking about it that way, maybe. So don't worry about the cost. We'll if we get Palmer to go again, then we can become big. We can provide that the workshop for the other deaf churches. Yes, the other deaf churches. We can become that person to stand there for them. Yeah, you're right. We could. Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Remember, right now, Palmer is so overwhelmed with his brother and his help.
With his brother. And well, and let's back up for a little bit. If you want to know one of our pastors that's really been beat up and scarred, also, we need to support Pastor Bud Palmer. We do. He feels like, well, we need to support them. He's wow. There have been things happen that, and so please, Yes. I'll tell you, that's why I continue to go on Wednesdays. That's one of the reasons I go on Wednesdays to Delavan. You know why? For teaching the kids, that's one reason. But Betty Jo could do that, Bud Palmer could do that. But I like to go and help. You know, Becky could do that. But probably it's not my number one reason. That's That's the one time when we meet together so we can support each other and support. That's the one time. And so really, it's probably my number one reason for going on Wednesdays is because to support each other, support him. Well, part of that is what? And Paul says we'll go for the cigars. And part of that, why do we have cigars? Before I moved to Wisconsin, did I have cigars? No. I moved here and now I do smoke cigars. Why? Because that's our time to support each other. While we're having cigars, we do a lot of talking, a lot of working together, a lot of wow, yeah. And so you're right. The cigars are just the what happens, but the reason is support, cigar support, yeah. So maybe, So maybe we have to talk with Kevin. Maybe we need to set up a cigar fundraiser, okay?
Or you know what? Hey.
Picture or this was awesome discussion. Thank you for doing.